stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. James, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Salgin? Commissioner West? Commissioner Collins? Commissioner Stevenson? Commissioner Vayu? Commissioner Vanessen?
Okay, at this time, we open up for the public to address us on anything that is not on the agenda. State law prohibits the commission from taking any action on any of these items. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Our rousing crowd is not responding. Okay. So, approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, so our motions have been approved. We'll move on to the public hearing. The explanation of what will occur is I will announce the item to be heard. Our staff will present a report and a recommendation, and then we'll open the public hearing. The order of testimony is the applicant, then those in favor, those in oppositions, and any rebuttal by the applicant. After all testimonies be given, I'll close the public hearing. We will discuss the item and make a motion. If you do not agree with the motion that the Planning Commission makes, you have the right to appeal it, and you can either talk to Shelby or Ken to find out the procedure for that. You do have to make sure you have signed the sign-in the back of the room. So, public hearing, is it Avid Candlewood Suites? Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are,
Okay.
Madam Chair. Thank you, and fellow commissioners. The request, Alex, if you could, thank you. The request tonight is to construct a 4-story, 107-room Avid Candlewood Suites Hotel in the C4 or Highway Service District, along with an outdoor swimming pool and gazebo, an exercise room, a guest laundry area, and off-street parking facility and landscaping on 2.03 acre site, which is next to the existing truck stop and restaurant facility. So the Flying J and Denny's out there by the Jacktone interchange. The building is approximately 45,338 square feet. Features a lobby and food area on the first floor. Kind of right in the middle here is the lobby and food area. A fitness room on the first floor as well. So let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. There's a fitness room next to the lobby as well there on the first floor. They do have guest laundry on the second floor of the facility, so I just switched over to the second floor plan. There is a guest laundry area there, and an outdoor swimming pool on site. The hotel contains both standard rooms and suite rooms, so half the hotel would be standard rooms, the other half as you come in would be suites. There's a breakdown in staff report of the various types of rooms and the suites and the sizes and all that. I won't go through all those tonight for you, but there is a attachment that was in your staff report that kind of shows the breakdown of the rooms and the layouts as well. A couple pages there of that. The exterior of the building is predominantly stucco with different colors and finishes, accenting the building. Let me just kind of get to those slides for you. The roof is mostly a flat parapet roof to hide all the mechanical equipment with accents of sloped roof areas, as you can see. The entrance to the building will be adorned with a porte-cochere for a guest drop-off in the front. So this will be the front-facing Jacktone road here, the top view of that, a couple of side elevations. You're looking at the side elevations of the hotel. Then the west elevation, this was what would be facing kind of the truck stop area. There's a color scheme here on the bottom of the different color renderings of the building, and then a couple renderings that they put together of the actual building. Looks like rain clouds, so you know it's an artist rendering, it's not actual. We haven't seen those in a while, but the project includes a paved off-street parking facility, which meets the city standards and includes 107 total stalls. You got 93 standard, 4 standard accessible spaces, and 1 van accessible space. And there is 9 compact stalls throughout the site. The site plan also indicates bicycle parking, a bicycle parking area near the front entrance that includes space for 6 bikes, which does slightly exceed the requirements of our municipal code. All parking stalls on site meet city standards, which is 10 foot wide for our standard stalls and 8.5 foot wide for our compact spaces. Access to the site will be provided by 1 existing commercial driveway. The driveway is already there. It's kind of the southern entrance to get into the parking lot by Denny's there. It will be a shared driveway approach off of North Jacktone Road. Modifications will be made to the existing driveway to accommodate access to both sites. Additionally, the applicant will be installing a left turn pocket on North Jacktone Road to provide access to their site for vehicles traveling north on Jacktone Road. The turn pocket will be designed and signed for vehicles only. Semi-trucks will not be allowed to utilize the turn pocket, nor should they, since the driveway approach on North Jacktone Road doesn't really provide access to the truck area anyways. Do the best to design it for that and sign it. That doesn't mean a truck's not going to try to get through that at some point. The applicant will also be required to provide an access easement through their parking lot to the city's park and ride lot. We do have a park and ride lot over there. The current access to the park and ride lot is a little out of the way. You have to go all the way down Santos Avenue, hit the frontage road, and kind of drive back to it. So this will provide an additional access to that, a little more direct. The site plan, although it's no indication on there, there is no lighting indicated on the plan, but there will be a lighting plan that is required to be provided for site lighting to ensure adequate lighting around the facility and the hotel for safety reasons, and also to make sure that the glare and such from lighting is concentrated to their site. There is no, we have not received any landscaping plans. However, the applicant has indicated there's 22% of landscaping that will be going in, which exceeds the city standard of 15%. Again, these plans will have to be submitted to staff here for review and approval. They do have to meet water efficient landscape requirements. We also are checking just for quantity of plants and trees to make sure it looks adequate. There is a trash enclosure indicated on the plans. It's kind of tucked back in behind the building at the very south, east, or west part of the site, up against kind of the truck parking area. The trash enclosure will be required to be designed per city standards. One of the conditions of approval is, like I said, with that turn pocket will be installation of that turn pocket, and then they will be required also to landscape the rest of the median on Jacktone Road down to Santos Avenue. If you've been out there and looked, there's no landscaping in that median. Their improvements out there will include that as well. So I think that concludes the staff report. There is a recommendation in the staff report for approval of the project, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I believe the architects and the applicant are here too, if you've got questions.
Just one, Ken. I like the idea of a northbound turn pocket. It makes it easier. I believe that's 2-lane road going both directions. Will that impede any of the 2-lane traffic northbound?
No, it won't impede the turn pocket itself?
Yeah, it won't restrict it down to 1 lane as
No.
people go to make left?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
still continue to have the 2 lanes.
Thank you.
curious about the park and ride. Is that used much?
There's a few cars in there
Oh,
on
okay.
occasion, but,
Okay,
you
yeah.
know, not as much as,
Because I usually take the Sandus Road to the frontage road
Yeah.
on my way to Manteca. So, and then, did I miss it, or is there any information about fencing around the project? Is there going to be a masonry fencing, or?
there's no information in the packet about fencing. I'll let the applicant speak to that. They
Okay.
don't necessarily have to have any fencing. They are abutting the truck stop there. But they can explain if they're gonna do any fencing there at all
Okay.
on that part of it.
Any other questions for Ken? You? All right, would the applicant like to address this? We're going to ask that you come up to the podium, state your name and address. Over there, yeah. Yeah, you got to walk all the way around. And we need to have your name and address for Shelby taking the minutes, so.
Good afternoon. My name is David Burkett with Red Ink Architects. My address is 3612 Sereno Avenue, Modesto, California. Ken, thank you for the presentation. Good job. Commissioners, thank you for your time to review the project. I do have one point of correction on the square footage. I think a number got transposed. The square footage of the building is actually 54,000, not 45. Other than that, if you guys had any questions, we're happy to answer.
Yeah, I'm curious about fencing with it being right up against a truck stop and the park and ride, and is it just all gonna be open, or?
Yeah, currently it's nice and open. That way we don't have any sort of like visual barriers for people to hide behind. And that way with the facility security cameras is able to see a lot more. So
Okay.
there's no current design right now for any sort of fencing.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, just a question about the extended stay category of the hotel. What's the typical occupant of that?
So most of the extended stay for the area around here would be business travelers that are gonna be staying longer, and then the family members that are traveling up and down as well. Historically, that's what we've seen.
Could you tell me a little bit about the organization? Is this part of IHG? Is that what I'm understanding? And what is, I think I saw something, Manteca Hospitality.
The ownership, if you guys want to come up and talk about yourself and your company and how you guys run your facilities. But yeah, it is IHG, it's Intercontinental Hotel Group.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Raj Dillon, and I'm with the Manteca Hospitality Group. First of all, I want to thank you, Ken, for the presentation, and thank you, commissioners, for letting us come here and present our project to you guys. And a little background on us, we're here located in Tracy, California. So we have about 23 years of hotel experience with hotel management as well as ownership. And this is going to be one of the really first hotels that we bring to California. And this is the brand new idea. It's going to be a dual brand suite. So there's two hotels. This is going to be Avid, which is a brand new concept from ISG. And then we're going to have Candlewood Suites, which is going to be the right portion of it. So this is going to be your first kind of thing that we're ever going to see. You walk in, and it's going to be regular, like a community, where your staff is the same staff, but you have two different franchises. So it's going to accommodate the regular person who comes in for smaller room, one night stay, as well as going to accommodate the people who want to stay for maybe 2 days, 3 days, 1 week. So that's kind of background on this franchise that we want to bring to the city of Ripon. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask.
Yes, you said that you have 23 years of experience, and you're in Tracy, although it's called the Manteca Hospitality, Inc. But this is your first hotel in California?
Yes, first new construction.
Oh, okay, so, but you do manage some other hotels in
Yeah,
California?
we've, since the late 1990s, we've managed over 22 hotels.
Okay. Do you have any in Manteca right now?
No, not currently. We have one in the planning. but not anything done.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the closest facility that you have to Ripon?
For hotels,
Mm-hmm.
we have Utah.
Utah, okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Raj?
I would just like to add one last question that, kind of standard for me. Just wanted to make sure that you have read, understood, and agreed to all the conditions of approval.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So I think that's it, unless you want to add something else. No? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this project? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and commissioners, we will decide if we want to
Madam
make a
Chair,
motion.
Madam Chair, I do have a couple things. Alex, if you can put back up on screen there, just to, I did find so this is the extended site view showing the turn pocket that they plan to install on Jacktone Road. And then they do show some access to our park and ride lot, which is to the bottom left of that drawing. So they would be able to kind of drive through the parking lot there to get to that park and ride. As well as we're gonna maintain the other entrance as well off the frontage road.
So that entire center divide is gonna be taken out and replaced?
They will modify that center divide to have kind of turn pockets for both. There's a turn pocket already now heading southbound to get onto Colony, so they will modify that so that the turn pockets work together, kind of an S median there.
Got it.
And then they will landscape the remainder of that to Santos Avenue. And then just to kind of clarify a little bit with Commissioner Vayu's question, much like the other hotel that came to town, which was an extended status, there is a condition of approval under the planning section of the staff report that talks about what extended hotel stays are. I think it's defined in the industry that it's more than, they can stay for more than 30 days, but less than 180 days. Basically, if they want to try to go anything further than that, they would be in violation of the use permit and would have to come back in front of the planning commission, because there is other logistics that would turn into, we would have to address if it turned into more of a longer stay hotel, or at that point, high density type housing type. There's other impacts that we would have to consider, so that condition is part of this planning conditions.
So question on that is, would we assume that Ripon PD would enforce that, and how would they know how long somebody's staying past 180 days?
It would be an enforcement issue that we would have to just check into and from time to time. I mean, if we start seeing people are staying there longer, that's when we would have to address it.
Okay.
Is this the type of place that has like banquets and stuff like this at these conferences, or no?
They don't have a banquet room or banquet facility here at this hotel, so I would
Okay.
think they would have banquets or anything.
Deb, I was gonna ask the same question about fencing. And I kind of go back and forth on that. It would be, you'd think the hotel guests would enjoy a nice block of all the trucks. And yet I understand the comment about security.
Yeah,
And
would just
so-
assume fence it, and,
Yeah, it is a good question, but I thought it was a good answer too, so.
yeah.
Well, the cost between a cyclone fence and a masonry fence are
No significant.
significant. So is there a chance that you would do a masonry wall as opposed to a cyclone fence?
It's not current in the current design right now that we consult.
So it's cyclone fence?
No fencing.
No fencing at all?
In the current design.
I have to assume that the pool is gonna be fenced, but, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got it.
okay.
Do you assume a lot of your truckers?
I think there wouldn't be majority of them, but there would definitely be some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the average of California right now is like, I think 72% occupancy rate, and a lot of that is business owners and business who are traveling. So our location here, I would expect not more than 10% of them to be truckers.
Hotel near a truck stop? No?
I don't think
industry, the construction industry utilizes a fair amount of the extended stay type facilities. You know, might have a project in an area where I don't currently have like a superintendent that would stay there for 3 months, 6 months, could be the life of the project. So it's not untypical, and it's not necessarily an unhealthy environment. You know, they are very legitimate uses that are put in play for these kind of facilities.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I remember George explained that with the last hotel we talked about, that, that's what they're used for a lot. And I know that people who use the Mislin Park, or who wanna stay in town, can't, because we don't have a place for them.
Just the La Quinta?
Yeah, they look into, which is usually full, so they're going to Manteca or Salida, you know, to get it, so.
I think the business model is good for here. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so any other discussion, or are we ready to make a motion?
I'll make the motion if I can find the right spot.
It's on the first page.
Somebody beats me to it, please. Oh, here it is. I recommend that the Planning Commission approves the Manteca Hospitality, Inc. conditional use permit, UP 22-61, based on the findings and subject to the conditions in the staff report.
Second?
They're ready to start building.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I know it doesn't really go that fast, but. All right, next we have on our agenda the major site review, SR 22-65 for West Valley Concrete, Inc. Ken?
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners. The request here is for a site plan permit to construct about a 7,500 square foot building located at 875 Doak Boulevard. It's on the corner of Doak and Veer Avenue. The proposed project is located in a light industrial district on approximately 0.88 of an acre. It's here on the site plan, as you can see. The proposed building, let me get to the site plan there. The proposed building will be located towards the rear western edge of the property with the front entrance to the office portion and the large roll-up doors for the warehouse space facing inward to their yard and their parking area. The building is proposed to have the following setbacks that are listed below. It is about 90 feet off of Doak Boulevard. It'll be 20 feet off the rear property line, which is our minimum requirement. Interior side setback, so right adjacent to the Kaizen River project, it'll be about 36 feet from that property line and about 24 feet, a little over 24 feet from the property line along Vera Avenue. Minimum setbacks for light industrial are 20 feet for any of the property lines. So he does meet and exceed those standards. The proposed warehouse portion of the building will be 23 feet, 10 inches in height. And the office portion of the building will be 18 feet, roughly 18 feet in height. The building height does comply with the Ripon Code, Municipal Code, which is a maximum of 35 feet or 2 stories. Just for some reference, the project being built right next door, the Kaizen River project, they're about a 25-foot building height, so slightly taller than what's being proposed here. The off-street parking facility, kind of go back one there for you. Provides a total of 12 spaces, 11 standard and 1 van accessible, which does meet the required space requirements by our local regulations, and they all comply with the 10 by 12 parking standard for the city of Ripon, or 10 by 19, sorry about that. Access to the site will be provided by one new commercial driveway approach off of Doak Boulevard. The main entrance will be gated with an automatic slide gate for site security. There is a secondary access being proposed on, Veer Avenue in the very back here. This is just for emergency access only. That access will be gated and locked at all times. If for some reason the fire department or police department need to have access to the site for security reasons, they can unlock that gate and get in that way. Otherwise, it's not going to be used for daily activity in and out of the site.
The PD and the fire department have keys? Would they have keys?
Yeah, it's a Knox box system, so they would have keys for that, or access to that. The exterior of the building is metal, much like the neighboring properties there. Here's some elevation views of it. Over the entire building, the plans do kind of call out for an ash gray on the main body of the building with charcoal gray trim. And the roof will be, for both the warehouse and the office, will be a gable roof style. There are a couple elevations. This is, so the bottom would be a view from Doak Boulevard. The top is actually the back of the building, up against that block wall there. And then you have a couple views. So the top view here is inside the site looking west, and then the other view here would be off of from Veer Avenue. And then here's some renderings for that site as well. All landscaping, here's some more renderings. So all landscaping will be focused around the perimeter, the street perimeters of the site, and the plans indicate there's approximately 21% of the site would be landscaped, which greatly exceeds the 10% requirement for the light industrial. Although the applicant has not submitted landscape plans for the site, he will be required to submit those for review and approval with the planning department, the building department, Public Works. One of the conditions also in the staff report would be to provide some heavy landscaping, like for this portion of the building along Veer Avenue, to kind of mask that face of that wall there. The office has some windows to provide some detail there, but so we are asking for a little bit heavier landscaping there as part of one of the conditions. A detailed lighting plan will be required to be submitted as well. Will be reviewed by the planning department and police department, ensuring that adequate lighting is provided, but making sure that there's no glare on the neighboring properties and houses in the neighborhood there. There is a trash enclosure indicated on the site plan. It's up in the yard area here by the parking. The trash enclosure will have to be constructed to city standards with a roof system. And there was a little bit of signage indicated on the plans. The applicant will have to submit a separate permit for those, but I do believe would like to get some signage here on this corner along their fence, and then possibly do something along their gate as well. The applicant did indicate that the entire site will be fenced and gated. Said, although not necessarily shown on the plans, the applicant has indicated he intends to install brick columns along Doak Boulevard and Veer Avenue to at least the building edge. So let me kind of get to that there. So down to at least this edge here would be where the fencing would stop, kind of attached to the building. And he would like to put black coated chain link fencing with slats in between the columns to provide a little visual relief to the site there. We did sit down with the applicant and the project review committee and reviewed the project, and that's how the conditions of approval were born basically into the staff report. And there is a recommended action for you for approval on I think the last page of the staff report there. At this point, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, and the applicant is here if you have any questions for him.
Do any of the commissioners have questions for Ken? All right, well, process of elimination, you must be the applicant. Yeah, we'd like you to come up here and state your name and address. You can tell us anything you'd like to, and we will ask you if we have questions.
Well, thank you for reviewing my project. I'm Brian Valencia. I'm the owner of West Valley Concrete. I currently reside or just moved here to Ripon. I live at 19155 East Allen Road off of Carrollton. So I bought this parcel 2 years ago, and we've decided to develop it now or in the future here with your approval. So
You
If you
were
have
raised
any
here though,
questions.
weren't you?
what's that?
You were raised here, right?
I was, yeah, well, yeah, for the most part, yeah. And then I moved away and then moved back with my family. I built a house off of Carrollton Road.
So, so I have a question that is, so this is gonna have an office and a warehouse, but there's actually not any, physical concrete work that's gonna be done there? This is just
No.
a place for you to dispatch your guys?
It's really too small for our company, but we're gonna develop it for the time being. And the reason that the TI or the office portion is not being done at this point is we've been approached by several people who are interested in the building. If we can't come up to a conclusion with somebody who would like to purchase it and or lease it out, then we're gonna take it for the time being. But there's no, all the operations will be in the field. It's basically just storage and office personnel.
Oh, okay, so you aren't really building this building for your business? It's a
Yes
spec.
and no, I guess,
Okay.
would be. Right now, I guess you could say yes, it is.
So Brian, you don't anticipate that you're gonna be there necessarily long-term, it sounds like. But, you know, being in construction, you guys mobilize as early as anybody, right, in terms of time of day. But it sounds like you're not gonna be running your trucks or pumps out of this location, is that right?
Well, they'll be running out of there, but all of our personnel take their vehicles home. So the majority of stuff that would be stored there would be our laser screeds and our semis and stuff like that. And sometimes that stuff leaves at midnight, it does. But it has no backup alarms. It would be no different than the traffic driving down Doak Avenue.
They don't have backup alarms?
No.
Okay. And I notice you don't have doors along the backside, and it looks like there's our standard 8-foot masonry wall on the back, which helps with some of the noise, and again, you're accessing everything from the front, so that's good.
It's very minimal. Most of the time, if we have a night pour going on, everything is transported the day before, like now.
Go ahead, Jeff.
That brings me to my question, Brian. Thank you for being here. Your hours of operation, I know concrete guys get up really early and they sometimes work late. They have odd hours. What's the traffic impact at, 2 in the morning, 7 in the morning when kids are going to school? It's a major thoroughfare from Doak to Main Street.
There's no impact. It's only office personnel that will be there. Any foreman or anybody that's gonna be involved in loading a truck would be coming to the office probably in the afternoon to pick up any additional material, but that's gonna be far and few between too. So you'll just have office personnel driving back and forth from wherever they live to the office.
Got it. That makes sense. And so the
7 to 3:30, 7 to 4 would be
Okay,
the
thank
business
you.
hours. Yeah.
Perfect. So the laser screeds, are they going to require a lowboy or a trailer that'll be hooked to a tractor? What's your backup plan in terms of backing in? Will you have backers to direct traffic?
Well, we own a couple other yards too, so that our semis at and our low boys and stuff is at. We would have that if that was necessary, but more than likely, they probably won't be hauling out of there.
Thanks, Brian.
Brian, do you have a washout on this to wash out equipment when you bring it back? Do you know?
No, we don't, no.
Okay, so it won't be that type of place. The concrete aprons I see, what would you expect to happen there? Just back up and loading at the,
That's just because I'm a concrete guy.
okay, well, okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. I'm assuming that you'll be storing materials and using a forklift
Yeah.
pretty regularly, and forklifts can be kind of noisy. Do you use a larger diesel forklift or a standard?
It's just a propane 5,000-pound lift, has the backup alarm has been disabled.
Quieter? And then, would that be mostly inside the building, early in the morning? Just wondering if the neighbors are gonna hear the beeping noise of a forklift.
There's no backup alarm on it, and
At all.
if it was, it would be early in the morning. But like I said, we have 2 other yards
Okay.
that house material and equipment. So this is mostly for yard storage, if you will. We're kind of particular about our equipment, so
Good.
getting it inside.
Well,
And
it's
then
safe
our
and reliable.
office staff all in one location.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like there'll be a noise ordinance issue with that. so-
There won't be.
Okay.
Any other questions for Brian? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Leo, do you want to speak in opposition? All right, so we'll close the public hearing and decide what we're going to do. Motion, yeah.
Other than
Make one.
concerns that have been voiced, I think it's good use for that property.
It'll look better than it does now, I can tell you that. Big dirt.
Well, they're going gangbusters out there with the other project, so, yeah.
Completed up really nicely.
And I think plus with the added,
Courtyard going in, I think that's just gonna, it's gonna be a nice industrial area.
Yeah.
All right, if no one else wants to make a motion, I will. Planning Commission approved the major site plan permit SR 22-65 and for the West Valley Concrete, Inc., based on the findings and subject to the conditions of the staff report.
Second.
Can't get the vote thing to go. I'm grayed out. There we go. All right, it's been approved.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks.
good luck, thank you.
All right, so let's see, what do we have left here? Nothing much. Any reports?
Just a couple items, housekeeping, I don't know if, did you just write this on mine? Okay, I didn't know if they all had it. So next month, we do have a couple items for review. We will have a major site plan, on Acacia Avenue, Acacia and Pine. It is zoned, medium-density housing over there. Somebody bought a larger lot that contains a single-family home that they're looking to add, 4 units to, as a kind of a multifamily project. So that'll be in front of the commission for review and approval. That is a site plan that has to happen for that. And then also we will do our annual development agreement review. That's our annual housekeeping item. Really exciting to talk about, I guess, but, so we'll go through that. And then we do have a couple items for December. So there's a couple parcel maps that'll be in front of the planning commission for parceling up some properties here in town, and that's all we have in the pipeline at this point, so.
What is our December date?
19th, December 19th.
We were talking about rezoning, there was gonna be rezoning going on?
Yeah, so one of the parcel maps would be a rezone, because it's the zoning on its urban reserve, so it has to be rezoned to residential. It's currently a residential property now, it's just, it was, when it was annexed to the city, it was put under that urban reserve zoning, which is kind of a holding pattern for zones.
Any commissioners' reports? Nothing? All right, then we will adjourn the meeting until next month.